Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel. In today's layout, I forgot to film in the very beginning of creating this layout, but basically I cut down pattern paper into 3x4-inch rectangles. I'm creating a grid layout, which is part of a sketch that I'm doing for the Sketch and Scrap design team that I'm on, and all the links will be down below to my blog, which will give the exact measurements of all the other pieces, and also a link to the Sketch and Scrap website. So basically what I did when you're creating a grid layout, what I like to do is start with the middle one, and I try to make this straight. I always like to say straight-ish, because even when I use my T-ruler or actually do some measuring, it never turns out straight. But I decided that I was going to do the print and cut option with the Cricut instead of actually cutting these pieces and assembling them. I don't know why I don't do this very often, because basically you're creating your own die cuts that I probably would have purchased, and they're so super cute, and there's so many options on Design Space. So I'm so glad I did it this way. It was so much easier to put together. I pretty much followed the sketch exactly, so there's not a whole lot of extras going on. But one thing I wanted to ask, when you do a Halloween layout, do you stick to Halloween or do you stick to the subject of their costume, which is always a really tough one. My granddaughters are nothing at all scary, but I really like this paper line by Prima because there's a lot of pink, and even though it is definitely Halloween, it's not spooky at all. So you just saw my big oops there. I put the paper down and realized I put the grid upside down. Now normally I would just turn the entire thing upside down or turn it over, but as you can tell, I have a larger border up on the top, and I wanted to keep that because I'm going to be doing a little cluster over there in that right hand corner. So two of those photos, the two on the far left and right, were 4x6 photos, but I decided to cut them down to 3x4, the same, because that way it didn't cover up as much paper, and it worked out because the girls were the main focus of the photos anyhow. So once I adhered all the pieces, adhered the embellishments, I work a little bit on the cluster. This tab punch that I'm showing, I actually got this as a freebie for a crop that I had went to years ago, and probably the best freebie I've ever received, because a lot of times you get freebies and a lot of times it's something you might not ever use. I feel like I use this tab punch all the time. So that was my go-to with my first cluster building, and then I wasn't sure what to do next, so I decided to grab my fine point pen and just outline all of those 3x4-inch pattern paper squares or rectangles. Now I do this all the time, whether it's the entire layout or in just different areas. And the one thing I like to do, and I'm showing there, is wherever the ink doesn't actually show up well, or maybe I really did an oops since I do this all freehand, I do like a little squiggly line. So if you're looking at it, it kind of looks like if I was sewing, that would be where my thread bundled up. But I think that's just a cute little extra that maybe not something you would notice right offhand, but if somebody was really taking a good look at your layout, you do see that one little detail that just, I don't know, just puts it to a different level. So I wanted to put a little piece of pattern paper strip there. I didn't really want to repeat the pattern, so I went to one of the 3x4 cards that are on the back of a 12x12 sheet, and I grabbed that little spider web part, and I like it especially because it was a spider web, and although not scary again, because it was made out of gold metallic, which I thought in my mind I was really going to embellish with gold, but you'll see later I went a completely different route. But anyhow, I hope you're liking this video so far. I know it's pretty simple. Again, go to my blog for the measurements, and also you can see the sketch, and the link will be down in the information box. And once you do that, you can see more pictures, close-ups of the final layout. But if you're not already, hit subscribe down below. I do at least 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, and the second is whatever I'm creating in the command center, which is the name of my craft room, also my blog. And most of the time that means cards or Cricut projects, because they always seem kind of paper themed, but not always. So I just, if you're like me, you're just creative at all times. So you just find things to do. So like I had mentioned before, I really wanted to do some gold highlighting, but the gold that I had was more like a brush gold. And this was really, the gold highlights in this paper were more like your standard kind of yellowish gold. So I didn't want to add a brush gold. I didn't think it would coordinate well. So I found these sequins There were some plain white, some plain black, and also some striped, black and white striped, and I decided I was going to use those. And then as I was digging around as well, I found these enamel dots. Now these are old, and I'm not even sure if they're really considered enamel dots, but I've had them, I mean, probably at least 15 years. And when I was trying to debate where to put them, I looked at that moon, and if you look really closely, there's like these craters that are on there, and these dots, because there are multiple sizes, worked out perfectly to fill those craters. So then I thought, okay, well, I need to add a couple in those other corners where I had the sequins. So I think it all meshed really well. Again, I did build that on that title a little bit in Design Space, but I will have a link to my Design Space link as well, so you can see those or just reprint them as well. But I just want to make a recommendation if you haven't tried that print and cut. That is definitely something I recommend for easy embellishments. So once I was all done, I thought, okay, done. But it just felt like it needed something. And as usual, my go-to are the splatters. This time I used white, and this particular white splatter is amazing. Probably the best I've ever used. So I'll have that information again on my blog. But again, I hope you do like this video. Hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you'll know whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.